All right, so right now we're trying to take out the seat heaters, and under the bus, I'm actually looking at the hoses where they go into, they route from into the engine and from this to the seat heaters. And I'm taking, there's a dial right here. This you want to turn all the way off because that controls the coolant flow to the hoses. And then I loosened this clamp here so that I can take the hose off. We're going to drain what little bit of coolant is in there that'll be coming from the seat heaters, which are actually up top above this. That'll drain into this bucket, and then we can take this other hose right here, and we're going to route that back into here so that it creates the loop back into the engine, and that way we can take out all of the hoses from inside the bus. So here we go. I've already loosened the clamp. This off. That is actually on there really well. There it is.
Look at it later.
There it is. So now it's draining out from up top inside the bus from the.
Anything. Shine it in the bucket.
Okay. All right. So all the fluid has drained out into the bucket. I'm also going to take out. You'll see two connections up there. It's the one on the right needs to be taken out as well, and that will get rerouted back into this connector so it creates the loop back into the engine, and that way it'll separate from the loop inside the bus, and that way we can remove all the hoses and the heaters in there, and it won't impact the flow of the coolant through the engine. So I've taken the seat heater out here. That's why we got a little bit of a mess from some coolant. And it literally went through those holes down there and into the engine, came all the way across the hoses, and now they're going down into the storage compartments below, which I had to unscrew and take apart so I can feed the hoses through. They will then come back up from the storage compartment, which will require more screws and taking apart. And then these go all the way up to here, which hits that. I don't know if you can see in here. This is a seat heater that heats the feet of the driver, and then they actually run underneath into this compartment, which is where the front heaters are to defrost the windows and blow heat. So all these hoses have to get torn out because essentially there is a loop of coolant from the engine all the way up to the first and second heater that were in here that I took out, and then it goes back up through to the seat heater and the main heater up front, and it creates a loop, right? And so the conundrum that I have now is figuring out how am I going to get the front heaters to work. I either need to find a way to reroute the hoses under the bus, which means drilling through a bunch of metal and steel, not going to be fun, or I come up with some type of an alternative up front here for heat and defrost. That's the next problem that I'm trying to solve. Don't know what I'm going to do yet. It's a lot of work just to get the heaters and the hoses out. I'll actually take you around the side so you can kind of see what I've had to do to fix that. So in here is the storage compartment underneath. See, I'm underneath the bus, and this is where the hoses come out from. So I had to take this piece of metal off with all those screws, and I'll have to take this one off too, right here, to get the other section of it and pull it out from the top of the bus, or inside the bus, so that I can remove them. All right, so now all the hoses have been pulled out. This wire, this is the electrical wires that powered the seat heaters as well. those run all the way into this little hole here, which goes to the side electrical panel, which is behind that. And so what Christine and I have done is mess with these, and we identified the wires on the panel, and now we're going to go ahead and pull them out. So this is what the inside of the panel looks like. We took the 4 wires, there are actually 4 pairs of wires, these and these down here, that we pulled out of the panel, and we're unclipping them now, and then we're going to go inside and just pull them through. And that's how we're removing the heater wires. All right, our hoses and wires are completely out. So I'm glad that's over. Now it's time to rip up the rest of these floors and bring it down to the metal. So here we go.